Yo, what's up guys? Welcome to another tutorial. I'm 7beats and today I'm going to show you how you can mix and master your beats. So in this tutorial I'm going to mix and master my beat in my project, so where I've created this beat. So I will not export any stems or whatever, but if you're not using a really high-end computer, I will recommend you to export these stems and just follow the same process. Also make sure to subscribe to my channel, leave a comment if you have any questions, and I hope you guys enjoy this tutorial. So in this case, I will be mixing an afrobeat, but if you're mixing or mastering, for example, trap or R&B, I think the process will be basically the same. If you're mixing and mastering your music, I will recommend you the following steps. So first, level all the elements, so when you're creating the beat. After that, mix your drums, so just solo them and just mix them separate. Afterwards, add some more layers of your melody, then add some effects or other elements, and then we're going to add some mixing things like sidechaining and things like that, and then we're going to use some mastering tools. And I'm also going to use some third-party software, so you can do the same with the Fruity stock software, but I think some third-party software can really add some more quality to your mix, but it's not necessary. So first I'm going to do some final leveling, and I can really recommend you to use some really good headphones. Add some reverb right here. Make sure you cut out the high frequencies when you're using some reverb on snares, for example. This is the bass. So I think this already sounds really awesome, just clean. And right now I'm going to add some panning, so I'm going to pan some elements to the left and to the right. So I'm just going to loop this part of the beat where all the elements are playing. So my main snares, this tom to the right. Just separate the elements. And I'm going to cut out the low frequencies of my effects like this. So right now I'm going to solo on my drums. And listen really carefully. And make sure nothing is above your kicks. So right here is the level of your kicks. Make sure nothing is above that one. And I'm going to check the waveform if there are not really weird things going on. So I'm using this M-Exoscope, which is free. Just Google it and you can install it. As you can see, my kick is the loudest element in the beat. So I've used this EQ on my kick without. So I'm going to use another EQ, and you can also use the EQ from Fruity Loops. So I'm going to remove the boxy sound from the kick. I think it's right here. So by just boosting the frequencies, you can really hear where the boxiness in the kick is. So like this. And I think I've added this timbrine. remove some of the low frequencies. So I think this already sounds really awesome. And right now we're going to add the low frequencies. So I've used this bass from Serum. So I've cut out some of the low frequencies right here. I'm going to cut out some more high frequencies. So I've added some distortion right here. Cut out the high frequencies, which are added by the distortion, but I don't want those high frequencies. So it will sound like this. So it's just a really small difference. And I've also used some sidechain animation right here. So I've used those elements and just linked them as a bus to this bus channel right here, added a fruity balance, and I've automated the volume. Like this. Every time a kick is playing, the volume is just reducing. Just create an audio clip right here and then just drag in your kick. So this kick right here, drag it in and just create an audio clip. So I think this is the easiest way to sidechain your low frequencies. And right now we're going to check the waveform again, which I think is really important to do, especially when you are a beginner. So you can see nothing is popping out. And it just looks really clean. So no peaks. And after that we're going to add the chord progression. So I've already cut out some of the low frequencies. And added some high frequencies. Added this reverb. And make sure you cut out the low frequencies from the reverb because otherwise it will sound really muddy. So I think this one is already leveled really awesome and just fits really well together in a mix, but just a little bit in the background. And after that we're going to add the shaker loop, which maybe is too loud, but I'm just going to reduce some of the high frequencies. So I think this sounds way much better. And as you can see, I'm not using any compression or whatever because I think that's not necessary yet. And right now the guitar melody is coming in. And this melody is really up front. So I've added this delay and some reverb. But I think I'm going to add some compression on this one. So I think I'm going to use the glue, but you can also use the fruity compressor. It's basically the same. And right here I'm using the glue and I'm just going to add a little bit of compression. Just, I think, like this. Automatic release. And we're just adding some gain right here and just leave it this way. So I think we're just compressing the waveform a little bit, and I'm going to open up and put the guitar. I make sure this one is on mono. So my guitar is on mono, so in the middle, and my chords are playing in stereo. And right now we're going to add the effects right here. So I've added this effect to insert 11 right here. And just use some leveling. So I think like this just sounds really good. Not too loud. And then we're going to make some adjustments to our drum fills. And as you can see, I've already cut out the low frequencies. And then I've used some reverb right here. And I think this one is already leveled really good. So don't really make it too difficult. And maybe turn up the volume a little bit. So I think this one is just really loud. So I think when it comes to mixing, I think it sounds just really good. And as you can hear, I've not used any declicking mode, so I'm going to use this one. Because I've cut off this one right here. And as you can see, this is not how it should be. So it should sound like this. And right now you could add any text if you want. So I'm using mine right here. 7 beats right here. And then just pick some random spots in your beat. And right now I'm going to use some mastering tools on the master. So first I'm going to use some compression, so just a little bit. Afterwards use some limiting, then add another compressor where I'm using some sidechain compression, which I'll explain in all details. And then I will add the ozone 9. So if you're using, so you can remove this limiter, and we will still use our scope on the final output. And then we're going to add a compressor. So you could use any compressor, but I'm going to use the glue again. And just use a preset which is called mastering, and then transparent final master, this one. Not too much, but just use a really fast attack ratio. It's linked to the threshold, and just use the automatic release. So you should not really notice this one. And then I'm going to use a really simple trick, but I think it works. So I'm going to use some saturation. So it's the Saturn 2. And you can also use the soft limiter. And then I'm going to use the tube and then clean tube and just add around 10%. And I'm going to explain what this one is doing right here. It's just distorting the waveform. So I'm going to disable this one right here. Turn it on. It's just compressing the waveform or distorting the waveform, but just add a little bit, because otherwise it will just sound really weird. You can hear it's distorting. Just 10%. It will just make sure it blends together the waveform. And after this we're going to use another the glue, but also just use a slightly compression. So I'm going to use the same preset, but I'm just going to compress my high frequencies. So I'm going to set this one to around 1100 Hertz, and then just compress the higher frequencies. So as you can see, I'm compressing my snares. Minus 1 dB. As you can see, when I will turn this down, I will compress my kick. So just find the right spot. So something like this. So I think the compressing part is done, and right now we're going to add the Ozone 9. So right now I'm going to use an imager and just play the loudest part of the track. So I think that's this part. And I'm also going to use a preset modern width, this one, and just turn down the low frequencies because we don't want any stereo image on the low frequencies. And this one around 50%. So like this. And then afterwards I will just add an exciter, and I really like this gentle tape preset, this one. It will add some clarity to the mix. So that's basically it, and right now we're going to add this maximizer. And I'm selecting the IRC4 with modern. Enable the true peak, set this one to -1 dB. And we're going to make sure our kick hits the -1 dB. So first just disable your kick, and then we will use this one because I think it visualizes our kick waveform better. And we're going to make sure it hits 0 or it hits -1. And you want to make sure your kick is not sounding distorted, so you can add this by playing around with the character. So I think this one sounds really good. Make sure to turn down the volume on your headphones and then just play. And just listen and maybe make some adjustments. So as you can see, nothing weird is going on. Maybe we could boost the volume a little bit more. Melodies coming in. So I think everything just sounds really clean. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions. Also make sure to subscribe to my channel and like this video. Let me know what you want to see in the next video, and see you guys in one of my next tutorials.